I call Andrew Bailey.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's a pleasure to be talking on this bill, the Taxation Bright Line Test for a Residential Land Bill. There have been a number of speeches just before talking about why we're doing this, and I agree with the previous speaker. What this government is having to do is to deal with a market failure, and essentially there has been a shortfall in houses being built, particularly in Auckland. During the GFC, when we should have been building on average about 10,000 a year, only about 3,000 to 4,000 were being built. And consequently, we have got the shortfall in houses, and that has led to an increase in prices. So what this government has been doing through its 104 special housing areas in Auckland is helping to provide an additional number of houses to the market, and also this bill is one of three where we're trying to deal in another dimension, which is to make sure that the proper incentives for investment in houses is appropriate or are appropriate. So this bill amends the Income Tax Act 2007 by inserting a new clause which requires investors and property owners to pay income tax on properties that they buy from the date of registration and to pay it if they sell within 2 years of that date. Slightly different commencement date for people buying apartments, which is actually the date that they enter into the agreement to buy it rather than the actual date of registration. But this tax doesn't actually apply in the three exemptions. One is if you're buying and selling your main home. Secondly, if you're buying within or selling within 2 years property that you've got through inheritance. Or thirdly, if you're entering into a matrimonial dispute and you have to sell your property. So there's three very clear exemptions. But what this also does is we've limited it to residential land. So it doesn't apply to farmland, it doesn't apply to business land unless it's greater than 50% use by residential purpose of that business land. And so we are wanting to do is to make sure that we've got a good basis. We've tried to ensure that we're not capturing every normal New Zealander buying and selling a house. And so the exemption also means that unless you're a foreigner or a non-resident, you do not have to put in place any requirement to get Income Tax Act or income registration or anything like that. We simply want to make sure that those holding property and selling and trading property within a period of 2 years need to pay income tax. And it's exactly the same if you're trading shares on the stock market. You will be deemed an habitual investor, and it's the same rules. It's absolutely consistent. And to that, I commend this bill to the House.